I think term limits is a horrible thing, but I probably would not have had the ability to run for the legislature were it not for term limits. So the person whose seat that I ran for was not term limited, but chose not to run for Secretary of State because they would have had a term limit the next session. So I would not have been able to run, nor would I think I would have moved up into various leadership positions as fast. But you certainly lost institutional memory. You certainly, once somebody got in the legislature, you know, the first week, they're already looking for what their next office is going to be. So obviously, since then, we've extended term limits so that somebody has 12 years instead of 6 years if they so choose to stay in the assembly. But you know, my thought is, you know, elections are built-in term limits. So if you're doing a good job, you should be able to stay there. So that was my general view of it. It was a great benefit to me in the beginning, but then of course I had to leave. So I certainly enjoyed the job, and were there not term limits, I would likely have stayed.
Well, I'm wondering too about, I mean, you left under term limits, and your father as well.
Right. And remember, the bill that the initiative that created term limits also took away the pension that legislators used to get. So no long-term pension. It used to be if you were there for a certain period of time, you ended up with lifetime health care. Now, you know, and that wasn't just, you know, special for legislators, but, you know, public employees tended to have good benefits. But legislators, not only did we not get a pension, we weren't even allowed to invest in the public employee retirement system and put our own money into it. So it had, you know, even that greater negative effect. So it you know, other than the fact that I think they've reduced the salaries not that long ago and things like that, there is there's this strange phenomenon where people tend to like their own representatives, but they hate politics and they hate, you know, the legislature as a whole. So, but I certainly enjoyed my time there.
And I mean, you saw the transition happen. You talked about here the lack of institutional knowledge, but you've also talked about the role that staffers play in basically granting that institutional knowledge.
Well, so yes, and it goes back to you being the historian, I'm sure know this. It goes back to a time that really is the result of Jess Unruh. There used to be a time where all the staff belonged to the administration. And Jess Unruh created an infrastructure and a staff so that he would be able to compete effectively with governors on policy issues. And the staff has a significant effect. I mean, they're the people that really make the place run. Like, you know, getting a bill drafted and put in is really something that staffers do, and some of it is very technical. And there are a lot of rules and statutes about when you put something in, when you're first able to present it to a committee, how long it has to stay in that committee, how long it has to be available for people to make public comment, all of those things. And staffers really make the place run. They also are the institution of memory and sometimes the intellectual repository in a particular area. You know, a senior staff person, particularly those who work on committees, who staff a legislator with respect to the committee that they chair, are really experts in those fields. And sometimes it's very technical. I mean, you know, particularly healthcare and how it is funded and how it works and the interplay between insurance companies and nonprofits and hospitals and doctors. It's a very complicated, you know, rubric and setup. So, you know, kudos to all of those staffers who have become experts in those areas.